Hello and welcome to the Savvy Money Show with me, your host Sean. I've been asked if I had any more tips. I do, but again, as I said, they have to come thick and fast, so I can't go into too much detail regarding them. The first one is going to be Simeon. And the reason for this is it's considered by 43% undervalued, has a PE ratio of 7.69 and holds no debt. Now, the next one is going to be JD Sports Fashion. Now, seen what happened with some retailers, such as Boohoo. We've seen what's happened recently with a couple of others I've named in past videos, how they've gone up. I think that could happen with this as well. It has a fairly high PE ratio of 19.71, and it pays a low dividend of 0.5, so they haven't put anything on there, but it also has low debt to money on hand. It has a lot of money on hand compared to its debt ratio. Now, next one is Hollywood Bowl. Now, I was going to wait and hope it got down to, these levels, maybe 100, but the thing is, looks like I might have to jump in, purely because even though it's only got a PE ratio of 8.99, and I think it will be okay once it opens up again. I think it's a good business. It's a good solid business. It's discounted heavily, but if you look behind the doors at the Section 4 notices, every one of the board has been insider buying. They've been buying up shares at this price. So if you like companies that the board are buying, this is the one for you. The next one is going to be BT Group. Now look at that. It was £1 a share earlier on. Now, you look at it there. £4.80 a share. And that wasn't the coronavirus or the Rona. They've had a couple of scandals, which was like anti-bribery and a couple of other things, which took them to here. And then the coronavirus, and then they had another scandal, which took them to here. And then the coronavirus brought them down here, and then selling off down there. Personally, I think it should be between £1.80 to £2 a share. These are the main guys behind, going to be the main guys behind 5G in the UK. They own the infrastructure for the internet in the UK with OpenReach. Any company, whoever you're with, that when you say you've got a problem with your line, they can send their own engineers out to your house to check it, but if there's a problem with your line, they will then have to call a BT engineer and pay them, get it checked. You can see there it's got a PE ratio of 5, dividend yield of 14%, but they won't be paying that this year. Next year should be paying it. BT was one of the first companies I went into. Don't need that because Mate, I've been averaging down on it because I just couldn't believe it would fall this low. Company of their size, I mean, if you look into them, you know, the companies they've taken over, you may not have heard them taking them over. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I've got to get on. Sorry about this. Another one, I mentioned it before, AA. Now, they PE ratio of 1.81, dividend yield of 2%. Don't expect the dividend, but in the future, it will. Custodian REIT, again, PE ratio of 12, dividend 7.8%. Now, REITs have had a bashing. People have been piling into healthcare REITs or no REITs at all. Now, as I said, they are Wicks, Staples, Poundland, Tesco's, Specsavers, WH Smith's, Royal Mail, Superdrug. They are a majority of their business. Not all of them. Some of their business aren't open because of the COVID-19, but a majority of them are, and they've taken in 60% of the rent. Now, the fact that they may not be paying a dividend, we don't know yet, but I wouldn't mind if they wasn't, because you're getting it at such a discounted rate. Look at that. It's been a constant, and it's there. You're getting it at 2/3 of the price. Yeah. Where was it? Oh, this one, Royal Dutch Shell. Now, I got slammed for selling this at $13.30 after buying it at $12.40. Now it's gone down to $11.54. I bought some at $11.57 here, and in my other account I bought some at $11.30, averaging down 5.46 PE ratio. It says here dividend 9.49. In my other one, it says, I think it says 3% because they cut the dividend. No, it doesn't. But when I checked it, obviously it's not, the dividend isn't that, but they cut the dividend, and that was the reason they cut the dividend instead of scrapping it all together, was so they didn't lose their dividend aristocrat status, and their price got trashed because of it. Now, still worth picking up, even if you lose 1 year of dividends, because no doubt they will reinstate it next year. You need the B shares if you're in the UK. The A shares are for the Netherlands and will subject you to their tax. Now, let's see. What are you going to custodian? Alright. Walgreens boots. Tomorrow they announce whether they're ex-div or not. Tomorrow they become ex-dividend, which should be 4.52%. They're 7.7 PE ratio. Now, a week ago I tipped them for being one of the shares alongside AT&T to hold, because during the COVID-19 they would be one of the main ones, purely because their pharmacy arm brings in most of their money, and they will be doing well. Don't forget, if you enjoy any of the entertainment tonight, please hit the like and share button. It helps get the video out to more people. Let's carry on. If you want to buy any of these shares, there's links down below to free trading apps where you'll get a free share as well. Now this is, as you can see, I've only got £2 in it. You can see the price of it. It's not even a penny stock. It's just so low. Reason why? Look at this. Normally I would steer clear of this. It's 34% debt to assets. So, although they have lost this much, and I wouldn't normally recommend them because of the financials, but the debt to assets are low. And reason why? I think you'll see. They are a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company developing a pipeline of therapies for eye disease. Now, I know I went into this kind of emotional level because I know someone who has eye problems, and they spent 5 years going through intense operations because there was nothing on the market for them. One of the things that they are working on would actually have solved that. Now they have just released a paper for 2 items that 2 treatments, 2 massive treatments that could earn a massive amount of money. And they have 2 other treatments as well. If they, although one of them will be 7 years, is at preclinical stage and is 7 years away, you know, some of them can earn a massive lot of money. So this is what they call a spec play, a medium spec play. We've heard of spec plays like Tesla. I've said about super spec plays like Nikola. This is what we call a medium spec play. So I've only put a little bit in. I have 8 shares. So whenever I have a few pennies left over, what I'll do is I'll put into AA because they're like 19 pence a share. Anything left over from that, I'll put into these and build them up. And that's the way I do it. And hopefully they'll do something. If not, I don't see it as lost money because they're only pennies. And that's what I like about this app. Now we go to something else. And I said previously how AMC, rumour come out that AMC was going to be taken over by Amazon, and everyone polled into AMC Entertainment Holdings. It would make sense. As I said, Amazon could do the 2-for-1 cinema offer for Prime members. They could even do preview screenings. If they could do a new thing called Prime Plus members, or Super Prime, where if you're a member you pay a bit more than Prime, but if you're a member you get exclusive tickets to preview screenings. I mean, I've been to preview screenings before, and they actually use your feedback on the movie in the adverts for the movie. All those people you see who say, "Oh yeah, it was amazing," or you know, that's what that's from a preview. Now, as well as that, if they own AMC and they've bought a movie to be shown in AMC, they could then, as soon as the movie's theatre's finished with it, they could pass it on to Prime, Amazon Prime. So it would make sense. But as I released earlier on, before anyone else, Amazon didn't. They actually come out and said, no, not AMC Entertainment, it's AMC Network. They're the ones that we're looking to buy. So if you're in AMC Entertainment and there's nothing wrong with it, you know, yes, it's settled with debt, but you know, once we're out of this, how much money movie theaters make. AMC Networks is the one that Amazon looking to take over. And they're the ones responsible for the likes of Breaking Bad and so you could understand why Amazon would want that, because they have a whole network with a rich history, who will be able to make them a whole load of new series specifically, exclusively for Amazon, rather than them paying producers and directors and people for their movies, because they would own them. Now, again, I think I covered Fizz before, how I sold my Pepsi for Fizz, because I think Fizz are going to be an amazing company. Again, a spec play, but I've taken the chance. This is another spec play. Global Cord Blood Corporation. The plus side: no debt, massive amount of money on their books. I know from experience how much these companies charge. I checked it up in the UK before my kid was born. You paid the huge deposit, and you let them know when they're going to come, when your wife's going to be giving birth. Now, sorry about that. What happens is, if they will come then, if you don't let them know, they keep the deposit. You know, if your wife's rushed in an emergency and she gives birth unexpectedly, they keep the deposit. If they give birth, they take the cord and the cord blood and they refrigerate it. It's viable, and basically all they do is they put it in a fridge. It's a specialized fridge, but in a fridge nonetheless. Then what they do is they charge you a lot of money. But the upside is, if you need any cord blood in the future for anything, if you need it for leukemia, cancer, any kind of treatment, you know, then you have access to it. The problem we had was we didn't have time to contact the nurse, so we lost our deposit. Now, the downside: we know it's a money making machine, but the downside, it's a Chinese company. It's only based in China. And we all remember what happened with Luckin Coffee. They were fiddling the books. Now, with this, it's, look at that. Now, this is supposed to be a company with a 21 billion, sorry, this is supposed to be a company with a massive amount of money on their books. Now, look, and it's lost a third of its value in the last year. I'd have understood if it lost a third of its value since then, but no, this was high. Now, It's supposed to have a massive amount of cash on hand, no debt. So if that was the case, coronavirus hit, shouldn't have affected it. If anything, it should have helped it. You should have people wanting to sign up for it. You should have people wanting, because each time you make a withdrawal as well, then you have to pay again. So you should have people wanting to make a withdrawal if they're in hospital with COVID-19. But no. So, you know, with this, I would put this along the lines of Nikola and VTIQ, purely along the lines of super spec. Anyway, hope you found it entertaining. I hope you found it informative, and I hope you hit the like button and subscribe. As you're aware, I'm sure, a lot of research goes into finding these companies and into the background of the companies. I'm sorry I couldn't go into more depth with them, but there were a lot of companies, and I'll be surprised if any of you are still watching by now. Anyway, I'll see you later. Stay safe, stay investing, and stay savvy. Goodbye.